Welcome to another brand new episode of Undisputed Anime. This is the podcast where we like to give some top-notch anime recommendations and reviews. As always, hosted by myself, Zane Taicho, your captain of recommendations. And as always, joined by my fantastic co-host, Mr. Susuke. How are you, good sir?
I'm very well, thank you very much. Didn't think we were going to get snow this year, but woke up this morning to snow, so...
Here it is, yeah, wild, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a beautiful anime dream. Christmas in Tokyo.
Exactly. Dare I say, it always reminds me of Love Hina, where there's that scene where I think it's... I'm terrible with names.
It's been so long. So
yeah.
I was like, I don't know if even I would remember the names. I remember it's Haru?
Haru's the aunt, isn't she?
Yeah,
and then it's
I don't know.
Nina?
I don't know.
Not Nina. But the main girl, she runs out in the snow, and then the main guy finds her and gives her an umbrella and a scarf.
Yes.
And I'm like, this is amazing. This is it.
It is Naru. Naru is the main girl.
Yeah.
And Keitaro is the main boy.
There we go.
There we go.
Such wholesome times.
You say wholesome, but this is an Akamatsu like title.
It's very true. Very true.
So,
before we go down reminiscence holes, nostalgia holes, I guess.
There we go. The nostalgia rabbit hole.
Today's episode, we will be giving you our thoughts, our reactions, and review on Stone Ocean Part 3. That's right, Trice. It finally happened. It finally came out. Wow. Yeah.
Quite the ride.
Quite the ride, indeed. Do you want to kind of jump straight into it? Should we kind of like give our thoughts and reactions straight off the bat?
Yeah, we may as well just jump into it and then analyze.
The machination to it. Yeah. Look back on it. Okay, cool. For me, I really enjoyed this season. It didn't feel like it dragged out too much compared to the last season. And I feel like straight out the gate with Anastasia, I keep thinking his name's Weather Forecast is the star.
Weather Forecast, yeah.
And then Weather is the character. Either way, the way they had like the fight with the fairy book characters and stuff, I was like, this is so like straight into Ariaki's like
yes.
playbook, if you know what I mean.
It was honestly like so wild. Like you said, the pacing of this season was really good because the part 2 ended on them getting out of jail and the priest having fused with this green Dio baby. And it didn't like mess around. It was like straight into the chase. Like every episode was there was something happening. It was like I actually found it very reminiscent of Starlight Crusaders.
Yeah.
In that sense, where it was like every single episode. Every single episode of Jojo, there is a new stand user. That is just how it goes. Yeah. But I feel like this season very like mirrored Jotaro's run a lot.
Yeah, definitely. It's funny you mentioned that because I remember when they did get to Egypt in Star Crusaders, it felt like there was this new elite level of sort of baddies they had to overcome. And like you rightly said, a similar sort of effect here with Stone Ocean where they were battling. I didn't realize this. I had to Google it. They're all sort of bastard children of Dio.
Yeah.
Which I was like, oh wow, like
super interesting. And it's fun because it's like it's been done in the same way that obviously in Stone Dust Crusaders, Dio was obviously sending out the stand users to stop Jotaro and the gang, and in this one, it's the priests who is sending the stand users after Jolene. So that's why I thought it was like really good. It was a nice, like, I think it was a nice nod to that kind of adventure. And I mean, you could argue that is the whole concept of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure anyway. The big bad sends stand users. It's a very simple, like, kind of formula. But I think that because of the relation between Jolene and Jotaro, is like kind of, I think that it, for me, it like kind of more closely resembled it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
Another thing I kind of found really interesting about this season as well is, and you know, there's been a lot of conversation about this in the sort of community. It's kind of reflecting back on it. Is probably the reveal of Poochie's final stand evolution, which is Made in Heaven or Maiden in Heaven, as it's sometimes known as. And I guess, like, I don't know if you've seen this already, a lot of people thought that the execution would be the same as the fan-made edit that's been circulating TikTok for about a year. For those who are watching this on YouTube, I'm just going to show it on screen to kind of give you an idea of what I'm talking about. So let me just pull this up. So it's this sequence.
Ooh.
And then you get the sort of black and white version of Poochie, and sometimes he has like light peering from his eyes and stuff. A lot of people thought we would have that same sequence. I didn't realize that was a fan edit. I thought this was from a video game.
Oh, did you think it was like, that's wild.
Yeah. And I guess the expectation is that someone had months to make that, where David Productions, the studio behind this, had months to make 14 episodes. So I guess there is a kind of like set your expectations when it comes to the reveal, but I thought it still did a great job.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. So, like, as I've said, this is one of those few instances. Like, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure as a whole is one of those titles where I've consumed the anime, but I've consumed very little of the manga. So it's like I'm seeing all of this for the first time with Father Pucci and like Made in Heaven. Like, so I didn't go into it with any expectations. In fact, I was like, I was like, oh, of course, his stand's gone through like these all these developments, and he's gone from like being able to, you know, his original stand ability of being able to kind of draw out people's like memories and like stands, to then his ability is
seeming the gravity.
Yeah, he's like the center of like gravity, and like he can control how that works. And then you've got it turning into the ability to speed up time.
Yeah,
absolutely wild. Honestly, I honestly had no idea that that's how the story would progress. Like,
me neither.
But yeah, like, it was good. I wasn't unsatisfied with the ending. I think that perhaps. So I wasn't unsatisfied with the ending, but I feel like the only expectation I had was that it was gonna play more into some of Jolene's abilities, when actually in the end it played into Emporio, and his resolution in the end. But I guess we're getting a bit too ahead of ourselves there. Obviously, this series follows Jolene and the gang trying to catch Father Pucci before he's able to get to Cape Canaveral, where he needs to be there at a certain time on a certain date in order to fully awaken his power. And very earlier on, obviously, the team is all split up because Anastasia and Weather were still within the prison.
Yeah.
Whereas Jolene, Emporio, and what is her name? It's happened to you as well. Like, my mind's gone completely blank.
I've just drawn a blank. I know who you mean. With the snap stand. Yeah.
But yes, they are. They're obviously on their
Hermes
separate
Costello.
journeys. Hermes. Yes.
Hermes.
They're on their like separate journeys to the same goal, and obviously all these crazy things are happening. New stand users are coming out the woodworks. You've got the fairy tale like stands. You've got like you've got the guy who can like dig holes and pull up memories out of like the earth.
Versus,
the guy who can control like the sky rods and stuff. Like,
some real meta sort of abilities.
Yeah, and I think that this is where the stands, because obviously I know that a lot of people were like, oh, stands have got like 2 regular abilities, but then you get to like stuff like I hear people talking about like Jojolian, and it's like the stands are so like out there, they're like so like very specific in their abilities that they're useless in all situations except a very specific one. So it's like there's a lot of that in this, which I really liked. They obviously eventually get to Cape Canaveral after obviously losing some, members of the team, and that's when things just go up to like 100 all of a sudden. Very interesting to see how the father's ability changed. Very interesting to see Anastasia's relationship deepen with Jolene, which I wasn't expecting. But then we obviously get up to our climactic moment, don't we? Where Jolene's in a pinch, and we very, very suddenly get some time stopping going on. And we get some classic Jojo theme music coming on.
Absolutely, yeah.
And Jotaro makes his appearance.
Your boy is back. Yeah, this season was so sort of like, I guess in a way similar. I can't help but think it like back to like Spider-Man No Way Home. It has those moments where it's kind of like we know he's your favorite. Here he is, like in the last pinch to try and like save the day and stuff. So yeah, that was amazing. I guess in so many ways, like similar to Diamond is Unbreakable. Like he's there to try and stop Kira with.
Yeah, he's investigating. He was like investigating the arrow, wasn't it?
Yeah,
that his original purpose, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. But obviously, he's not like he plays such a good role enough to not like be the one who finishes the whole thing. It was down to Josuke to kind of tie it all up, which is cool. Very different here though, and I know we're kind of dotting all over the place, but as soon as Jolene kind of unlocks that new ability of like infinity or infinite sort of.
Yeah, she does the Mobius strip, doesn't she?
Yeah. I honestly thought that this was signed, sealed, delivered. Like, especially after that like Taxon fight with Sea Moon, I thought Sea Moon is the barricade, that kind of the glass ceiling that she kind of breaks through to unlock that new ability, and this is going to be like everything from now on is her moment.
Yeah, that's like, so that was like my only disappointment in that, like she, like, so obviously, like, are we doing? Oh, I guess we're talking spoilers, aren't we?
We're already in spoiler territory.
Yeah. So she obviously like Father Pucci like apparently kills her by like inverting her heart, and you're like, that was at the very end of an episode, and then throughout the next episode you keep seeing hints that she's still alive and she's stalking him and stuff. And he's like freaking out, especially that moment where like she like grabs him from underneath the desk and like yanks his head down and stuff. You can see her, like you can see like Stone Ocean's arms and stuff, but you can't see her. And then you find out that like Stone Ocean's like unlocked this like new ability, which is like kind of perpetually regenerating her through it by making it an endless shape. And I really thought that like this is like this is like the climactic like ability moment where this is what we're going to see for her through the rest of it. So I was a little bit disappointed when it came down to it, that was the only time we actually saw that ability used, was in that moment to keep her alive. I thought that it was going to go on to escalate and develop further, kind of like, you know, when Josuke fought Dio, and throughout that fight he is slowly like learning how to control the world.
Yes, exactly.
Like, while he's being like frozen and stuff. So, but you know, I wasn't like completely unsatisfied with it. Like, I think it was like a really cool thing. Obviously, this is a very bizarre situation in that like every main character died at the end. Like, everyone got murked, and after working out what the ability was, Jolene helped Emporio escape, which led to him surviving into the next universe created by Father Pucci. And through doing that, he was able to then, I wouldn't say the circumstances allowed him to have Weathers stand himself, and he then used it to kill Father Pucci. And like the universe got reset, and obviously everything ends with like him meeting all of the main characters, but they have new versions of themselves that have never gone through those experiences.
Exactly, yeah. Which is a really sort of, it's an interesting concept, isn't it? Because you've gone on that journey with those characters. You've learned their backstories. Anastasia's story with his girlfriend, Hermes,
It's Hermes, I guess, but like if you were to say it properly, it'd be Hermes.
Hermes and her tragic story with her sister and such. None of that has happened now, and there's another sort of conversation that's been had in the community. Is there was a fan theory known as the Joestar curse, family curse. And now in this universe, Jolene is referred to as, is it Iris?
Yeah, it's something like that, but she's like, but my friends call me Jolene.
Yeah, it's basically her birth name instead of like her nickname of being Jolene. And because of that, it kind of gives the context that the family curse has now ended because the universe is reset and such.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, it is a very weird kind of feeling, isn't it? Because it's kind of like, well, are they saying this is the end of part one? Yeah, that everything we saw with Jonathan all the way down.
It's all about, like, it's all been about legacy and like this battle between the Joestars and Dio. And obviously they broke away from that in Diamond is Unbreakable, which was pleasant, which was nice. But like then they kind of like brought it back in a different way for Golden Experience, or sorry, Golden Wind even. And now I think like Stone Ocean has served as this really like, it served as a kind of a nice cap on the end of that story. Like I get the feeling that that they decided when it was being written, like, it's fun to do this, but we have the more we use this story, the more it's going to get boring.
Potentially, yeah, I can see that.
But I did when the episode finished, and I was kind of like, it ended on the end sequence of original series JoJo.
Yes,
which was incredible. You got to see a silhouette montage of all of the previous adventures.
Yeah.
It played Roundabout.
Yes. Yeah.
Gave us a to be continued as well. Absolutely, incredible. I was sitting there at like 11 o'clock at night, just sitting on the edge of my sofa, like
my mouth was on the floor.
Yeah, I was like, is this did the universe get reset? Has none of what happened from Jonathan's days ever happened now in this universe? Did Dio not become a vampire? Is this now and I know that there's a lot of discussion about this, is this is this how you can explain why Jojolian and Steel Ball Run are technically set in alternate universes? Because they're actually set in this universe, which is removed from that. And I know that a lot of people have disputed that theory, but it's
that's right. Yeah, it's funny you should mention that, because I had the exact same trail of thought. Because this is a reset universe, does that mean Steel Ball Run and all the other stories that continue, is that now set in this new reset universe? Again, there's been a lot of materials that kind of reflect that all takes place in a parallel universe, not necessarily this universe. But from my understanding and from the research I've seen, the new reset universe means that Father Pucci never existed. So the Dio stuff still happens, which means we still have Golden, essentially, everything up to Golden Wind still happens. And those characters still exist in this universe, because anything that was living in the previous universe gets carried across. So Josei would have come across, and and everything else. It just means
Father Pucci didn't exist to orchestrate this whole plot to get Jolene into prison.
Exactly, yeah, and all the other sort of moves he made to get the others in prison as well. So that's why Weather Wizard is alive in this universe, because he never, he was never set up to perish in that mob fight.
He wouldn't have been switched at birth.
Exactly. So he would have been a single child at birth instead of a twin.
Yeah. So he would never have had the whole situation that led to him committing suicide and meeting his sister girlfriends.
Yeah. One sort of question I had after watching this as well is, why did Weather Wizard have a star on his back? And the reason being is because when Father Pucci merged with the Dio baby, it meant that he obviously inherited, Dio cells, which are obviously a combination of Jonathan and Dio. And because he is a twin, it meant that his twin brother also had the same effects on his body. So the two of them had been almost boosted in power because of the baby and such, which is again a kind of a crazy idea.
And I mean, weather forecast abilities are already absolutely bananas. That whole thing with the snails.
Oh my god! Yeah,
so weird. So weird.
Unbelievable.
And I think there were a load of very standout moments in this series, like when they're in the Stan's plane and they're trying to survive the crash, and you think everyone's dead, and you find out that Jolene had completely unraveled herself and hid inside of Hermes. All these moments, he's just Jotaro showing up, using the world to save Jolene from those bullets, him using Hermes' ability to kind of distract Pucci while he threw a harpoon at him using the world, and then that moment where just for a second Pucci's eyes glance over to the sides, and I was like, oh my god.
I love the callback of Pucci using knives on Jolene.
Yes. He threw them up in the air, didn't he? And...
Yeah. and Jotaro just screams and says like, "This is exactly like his fight with Dio."
Yeah.
That was an amazing sort of reference and callback.
Also, shout out to the most gruesome death that a Joestar has had, with Jotaro getting like sliced up into like his face. Oh.
Yeah, that was grim. Woof. Yeah, that was. I mean, the whole thing was intense. Like, as soon as Father Pucci had made it to that space shuttle, it just felt like intensity throughout.
It's like, how are they going to win at this point? Like, it's like he's gone beyond powerful. Like, this is even beyond what Dio was capable of.
Yeah, and I guess like it follows the classic sort of villain gets time alternating powers that we've seen over the last 4 parts. Some people are saying like it's almost getting ridiculous now. I still love it. I think
I think it's good. I think time travel used by a villain is very fun,
and they're still different each time as well. Racing time with King Crimson. Obviously, we have Freezing Time with Dio.
Yeah, and then in Golden Wind, it was like he could change. It was like alternate universes, wasn't he? Like he was basically like rewriting a moment in that universe to fit him into it.
Yeah,
and that's how it works. So
it's King Crimson's so difficult to get your head around because it's to do with like foreseeing the future, but also erasing parts of it.
Yeah, it's like timelines, isn't it? It's like you can see the future timelines and put them into it. I do have like the one standout thing in this series. Here we go. This is it, because this is something that is a JoJo staple, and I was very happy to see it in the final hour. The final opening sequence for the last episode, where we get to see a variation of the opening sequence with every Joestar in it.
Oh yes,
and it blurs all of the opening sequences together, doesn't it? Because you see that scene with Jolene standing in that stairwell that Jonathan is in his opening sequence. You see all of these like flashbacks to previous JoJo series, and it is so good. And then there's that moment where you see them all, and then like Jolene's the last in the line and stuff. It was like so cool to see.
I think I may have that here. Hold on a second. Let me just. Oh, I think this is an actual comparison. So let me just. So this sequence here is a direct reference of Jolene's powering up with Stone Ocean. Reflects exactly to Jonathan in the first opening as he tackles Dio. That's a great callback as well. But I know which sequence you mean in that last opening. It's so good. I love it.
Yeah, I think I love that trend in JoJo where the opening sequence suddenly changes. The problem with like Netflix, the problem with it being on Netflix is it obviously gives you the option to skip straight away, but I'm glad. So you often don't watch the opening sequence, but I'm glad that they actually did the thing. They did it in this way, like it didn't come up with a skip option in that episode. Yes. So it's like if you want to skip it, you've got to like manually do it, but you it's hard to miss it.
Yeah, you miss something special if you do that. I find. Another sort of thing I wanted to cover with you is Stone Ocean's delivery from a like rollout has been, I guess, a hot topic because this has been split into 3 parts. First part started in December 1st, 2021, which did like some great numbers. Let me just show on screen here. Had like a great wave of people watching and such. This is, currently going by today's standards as well. So even now, like, there's still a good 100 people watching part one. Part two had an incredible spike, as you can imagine. This is back in September. Wow, this year, September 1st, is a huge spike. And then with part three, again, a lot more people watching. I guess the only thing I was kind of worried about it being split into three parts is diminishing returns in terms of, with the same huge audience that was there for part one, that they still continue watching, when it came to part two and three. Do you think that may have played any part at all?
Yeah, I mean, I think the problem that I see with it all is that we're so oversaturated with content for everything at all times. So if it released on a more regular cadence, I think that more people would stick with it all the way through. But I think that with the way that things go, like, obviously it shows up as like the hot thing on Netflix's homepage, and then you're like, okay, people are gonna watch that, and then they're gonna be like, okay, well, that's that over, it's done now. And the next time it comes up, they're like, well, I started watching it, but I forgot what happens. So it's either I watch it all or I don't watch it at all. You know what I mean? It's like there's a lot of that. I think Netflix is a great place for it to show if they can have the quality like they've been having it. But it being delivered in the way that it was delivered might put some people off watching it, because I know that a lot of people who like anime like watching a whole series of like how many episodes all in one go. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's it's a tricky thing, because it's kind of like trying to understand. Something like this hadn't really been done before. Most big anime titles have either landed on Crunchyroll and have been week to week, or, as you say, it's kind of had a different formula compared to Netflix, which has embraced the binge culture sort of idea and such, which we've done with these parts. We have essentially binged them. But yeah, it's an interesting idea. The last sort of production thing I want to mention as well is, apparently, and this comes from numerous sources on Twitter, is that the original agreement with David Productions was to do part one right through to Golden Wind, and depending on the success of the series, they would then do Stone Ocean. As it sits at the moment, there's no confirmation if we'll get Steel Ball Run, either animated or animated by David Productions. How does that make you feel?
Disappointed in a way, because like I'm always up for some more JoJo. It's just the right kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, it's so out there, but it's so very true to itself, and I can't not watch it.
Yeah.
Because it's like very different to everything else that's out there.
Yeah.
So I would be very disappointed if we didn't, in the next couple of years, get an announcement saying that we were going to get Steel Ball Run. Like, I would settle for it, like, even if they would like to release it as an OV, like a couple of OVAs.
Wow, that's an idea. Yeah, I like that.
But obviously, I think that we will ultimately get it, because JoJolion, while I've not read any of it, is hugely popular. To those who have read it. So I think it would be a missed opportunity to do it.
Yeah.
And he's going to keep writing JoJo until he dies.
I think so too. What were we saying before? The animation. Sorry, I'm out of breath now. I really hope this means we'll get more. I know there's a lot of gripe with the time it takes for the manga to be translated into, because at this rate it'll take 10 years before we'll get like the end of Joe Line and such.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hope it means that A, we get more of the manga, and B, more of the anime. David Productions as a whole, they've done an outstanding job.
Exceptional job. They've really done it justice.
Mm,
And what's always great about Jojo series of Jojo is that they all have their very unique, like, kind of color profiles and flavor to them.
yeah,
And they've managed to continue that with this. They've, everything feels very unique while also remaining the same JoJo staples.
absolutely. And they've given us such unique sounds when it comes to the stands and stuff, and sound effects as well.
Absolutely.
So, outstanding work from them. Outstanding work. Anything more you think we should touch on when it comes to it?
I can't think of anything to touch on, but I guess the real question, Zane, and you're usually the one who does this. Is it disputed or undisputed?
As part 3 on its own, I think it's undisputed. As a whole story, and that's including part 1, 2, and 3, I think it is undisputed. I just wish they did it in 2 parts, not 3. But
yeah, I think it would have landed better if we had gotten 2 slightly longer series.
Yeah,
I can kind of see what the thought process was in splitting it into 3 parts, because it is technically a 3 arc story between original jail, like getting the memory disc, like then you're in like kind of solitary confinement and escaping, and then you've got having it outside. But if that had just been split into 2 parts, I think probably would have felt better.
Yes. Your thoughts? What's your rating on this?
Undisputed, my friend. Undisputed. I enjoyed it for the moment of it. I kind of liked that at the end of it, I didn't know what to think. I think the fact that I was sitting there at the end of like, what just happened, and I was questioning it or thought was going to happen, because obviously it did not end how I expected it to end. So I think being surprised like that is good, because it means they did something unexpected, and that's always fun if it's done well. So Undisputed as a whole, I've really enjoyed Stone Ocean. I think that Jolene's a great protagonist. I liked all the side characters. I felt that everyone was very different. Felt the story was as a whole really good, and it was just it felt different because they obviously had to do it within the confines of a limited space for the most part.
Yeah.
So it was good stuff. Enjoyed.
I know we haven't really mentioned it much, but I really enjoyed Poochie as a villain as well. His stand.
His motives as well were very good.
Yeah. In a lot of ways, it felt like it was very a Poochie-centric story. And yeah, I really liked it. And I think the anime also confirmed that Poochie is mixed race. Because I know, again, there's been a lot of question of, is he just like a very tan-skinned Italian or, sort of thing. But I think the anime has kind of confirmed it now, that he is mixed race or a person of color, which I really like.
I like how it was done. Absolutely.
Yeah, very cool. So let us know your thoughts. Did you enjoy Stone Ocean?
I hope so.
Are you going to rewatch Stone Ocean? Because I think I certainly am. Let us know in the comments down below. Again, thank you for today's sponsor, Surfshark VPN. And I guess it's probably easy to say, this is our last episode of the year. This is a wrap on Undisputed Anime 2022. What a year!
What?
If you have been listening all year, thank you so much. If you're new, make sure to keep it locked in, because we've got some more content lined up for 2023. Hopefully some more cons. We've got a lot more cons to look forward to, haven't we? For the next year.
So.
And yeah, this has been an amazing year. So thank you for being with us this year. Again, make sure to check out our YouTube channel, join our Discord. Links will be in the description down below. And yeah, we will see you in 2023 in the new year with some more recommendations, more reviews, and a lot more content. So yeah, thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon. Ciao.
Ciao.